Every administration has been dominated by these people, and they've used their positions to push forward their agenda.
Literally, they think that they're so right that why would anybody question them? What's to discuss? We don't need any discussion. We have the truth, they say.
People will be living in a scientific dictatorship-like society. Liberty will be historical curiosity. Everybody in the world is in the same boat. They orchestrate the intelligence community to serve the American people in any way, shape, or form, or did they do it to serve themselves? And if they did, what was the purpose? We've already established the purpose to create a new international economic order's technocracy. We've already done that. We don't have to lay that groundwork again. And this is unmistakably a trilateral operation that we have going on right here. And seeing it in that context makes a lot of difference in understanding how close we are to implementing technocracy. And coming from a computer background myself and professionally, as I understand it, what I can tell you is they become very good at collecting information, vacuuming it up from all parts of society. You've got all of the other, all the financial records, the co-opting of telephone calls, of emails, all that kind of stuff. It's all going in a master database. They learn how to collect things very well. All the fusion centers around the country are collecting information. They learn how to collect it and store it. But computer technology has grown in that area. The collection and data storage has grown radically in the last 10 years. What has not grown is their ability to analyze it.
Only on Be Positive.
We can say thank goodness for that. They don't have the horsepower nor the software available yet to appropriately analyze all the data they're collecting at a breakneck speed. However, it's estimated by their own admission, 3 to 5 years they're going to solve that problem, where they will have enough artificial intelligence computing power, enough supercomputer power. And it's not just the issue of analyzing a given body of data, it's moving the data from the storage devices into the CPUs to process. That's the bottleneck right now, is moving the data from one place to another and then putting it back again, if necessary. But they're 3 to 5 years now away from having the processing power to analyze that data, to tell them what it means. Then we're in trouble. We're in big trouble. They're not very far away from having the capacity and the algorithms programmed to analyze the data pretty much in a real-time fashion. And when that happens, life is going to change in our country for the worse. And this is an expression of technocracy. It's an expression of the Trilateral Commission hegemony over our country for the last 40 years. Every administration has been dominated by these people, and they've used their positions to push forward their agenda of an interdependent world and of a new international economic order. That's it. And we now know that the new international economic order is pure, unadulterated technocracy from the 1930s. I'd also like to mention at this point just an observation about the global elite. These people, in my estimation, are really pedestrian academics at best. They have never come up with an original idea of their own. They have to hijack other people's ideas to, whatever advantage they can. That was the case with technocracy. It was not their idea at all. Although they might make it seem like it wasn't their idea. We go back, goes way back. However, in this case, it's monitoring the population automatically, systematically, using system theory and algorithms rather than people. So theoretically, if the system is set up properly in the future, no individual person needs to put his eyeballs on you to see if you're behaving. The computer will take care of you. If you're misbehaving, the computer will redirect you and rechannel you. The system will move to correct your behavior. And if you continue to move outside the bounds, then perhaps an individual might get involved and you might get a knock on the door. But the idea of a systematic or a scientific dictatorship is that the system does the controlling, also does the monitoring. It monitors you, it self-corrects. It monitors you, it self-corrects. And so Of all the hundreds of millions or the billions of people on the planet that are going to be involved in this system ultimately,
Only on Be Positive.
can all be managed and monitored in the same system and controlled and corrected in the same system without people needed to be involved. We know what they've done. We know who did it. But America will never succeed in any resistance against these people unless we clearly see who the enemy is. That kind of thinking goes all the way back to the great Chinese military philosopher Sun Tzu, who said, if you don't know the enemy, you cannot possibly win the war. And we've been trying to win the war for 40 years, and we've lost. We're worse off today than we've ever been off in the last 40 years. So something has to change in America. I think that what needs to be changed is we need to see the enemy for who he really is, and then and only then can we really make a target out of it, if you will, to push these people out of influence in our country, if it's possible at all. That's in the near term, know the enemy. In the longer term, you'd like some vestiges, some memory of liberty to remain in the hearts of men. This might be difficult when we have none, if that's where we're headed. But be that as it is, if we lose our liberty in this country, we lose liberty generally throughout the world, people will be living in a scientific dictatorship-like society. Liberty will be historical curiosity. Only hopefully enough people will keep a seed of liberty in their heart where somewhere down the road, liberty and freedom might be able to crawl out of the dark cave back into the light of day again.
Academics, engineers, and scientists at Columbia believed that the economy was dead, that capitalism was dying, and that it would soon just...
Only on Be Positive.
For some strange reason, they felt that they and they only were capable of creating a new economic system. So they did. They started from scratch, and they said, we're going to do this the scientific way. They called it technocracy, not democracy, but technocracy, ruled by technology, if you will. And in 1938, there was a great definition that came out in the Technocrat magazine, which is their official organ in the 30s. And this is how they defined themselves. I just let this stand on its own. I don't have to, you don't have to believe me about what it is. This is what they said they were. They called it the science of social engineering. This is a quote. The scientific operation of the entire social mechanism, that would be all of society, to produce and distribute goods and services to the entire population of the continent. That was North America at the time, including Canada, Mexico, and most of Central America. And they were an egotistical bunch who believed that their system of resource management was so perfect that science couldn't lie and science was always right, that there would be no need for political systems at all. And so they called for the dismissal of Congress and the Senate and, most of the legislative functions around the country, the representation of the people. And they said, we will make all the decisions because, after all, every decision we make will be right because we are scientists and engineers after all. That was a crazy way to get out of bed every morning, I think. Mindset, this mind of a technocrat. I've studied this for years now. The mind of a technocrat that we saw back in the 1930s is the exact same mind of a technocrat today. I don't want anybody to miss this. The psychology of somebody who buys into this crazy system is absolutely insane. They're just unplugged from reality. They do not see any need for any type of social interaction through politics. And they think that they're so right that why would anybody question them? What's to discuss? We don't need any discussion. That we have the truth, they say. We have science, and we've heard from science, and this is what science says to do. So why don't you just jolly well get on with it, and everything will be great. So you see this attitude today all over the place. I mean, this is exactly what's happened with the Great Panic of 2020. These scientists think, hey, well, we have spoken. We have spoken. Thus saith the Lord.